Good evening. I'm Scott Christensen. I am a alumni of Rogers High School of '93. I went to this school here, Ballou Junior High and Fruits Junior High for Grove Elementary, and represent again more of a Generation X type of parenthood. I have some grave concerns, and again, I want to congratulate those who have served the district for so many years and have committed their lives to this institution. And it again is it has a long tradition of greatness, and would love to see that continue. I have some concerns regarding critical race theory, as well as the mask mandate from Lisping Dinsley, who is our questionable governor of the state of Washington. His recommendation and the CDC's recommendation is simply that it is a recommendation to wear masks. And as obviously the CDC and media, from the liberal to conservative media alike, have found out that Dr. Feelgood Fauci has been caught in many, many lies, that being which he has declared that masks are not useful. And the bottom line is, how long are you going to oppress children to the true science, or as Lisping Dinsley might say, the science, the math, and the data, which is false. I can't say that I was a great academic, but I do know at least the science that I have conducted myself in says that the mask mandate is inappropriate for young people. I'm a coach of the Rainier Soccer Alliance, and I can attest that my players do not benefit from the mask. It is wrong, is abusive, and shame on this district for forcing this recommendation to these poor children. I would call on you as adults to research the science, the data, and the math. And the bottom line is, take your masks off. That's the truth. That is the real science. Along with the critical race theory and the racism that my grandfather, Lee Baxter, fought in World War I to fight against tyranny. And those of the Black Lives Matter, Antifa organizations that are now oppressing this district for the last 3 years. Oh, by the way, it's not now, as we have already been explained to, but the critical race theory is racist to its core. And if you want to fight against racism, and oh, by the way, this isn't a very diverse group. And when was the last time there was a diverse board? When was the last time there was a diverse group of principals? And again, the eye rolling, the sighs, we all know as parents and as former students that this district is better than that. Stand up. It was better. And the bottom line is this: we're coming at you. We're going to take your spots. These people back here, the bottom line is this: as much as this state loves to cheat in its voting rights, it hasn't caught up to Pierce County. And underneath Bruce Dammeier and the rest of us as the people, whether they be liberal, conservative, the bottom line is we're coming after your spots, and it's going to happen. 1619 does not define our nation. 1776 defines this nation. And it starts here in Puyallup, Washington. And regardless of what the state of Washington or Washington, D.C. says, we're taking our country back. And it starts here. It starts in our HOAs.
Mr.
I'm the
Christensen,
president of my HOA.
thank you for your comments. You're way past 3 minutes, so can we ask you to wrap it up? Thank you.
My final words are this. We are one nation under God, indivisible. And whether you like it or you hate it, the Creator, Jehovah God, Jesus Christ, is the Lord and Savior of this land and is the Lord and Savior of this district. And we are taking your spots back soon and very soon.
Good evening, President and board members. I just want to start out for thanking you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Shauna. This is my first year actually having a child in grade school. 6 years ago, I would have never worried that my child would be learning the things that she's about to learn. But not only that, having to wear a mask all day long, critical race theory, and the Senate Bill 5395. I myself am a fellow Rogers High School graduate, 2004, but this is not the Puyallup School District that I went to. Things are changing and way too fast. Let me begin with just why I'm here. It's the well-being of these children and mask wearing. A few facts that I came up with. School is not just academic development. From ages 5 to 7 years old, it's the most important for social development. Those main focuses are establishing relationship, managing emotion, and coping with stress. So how do we expect these children to compact these main focuses with social distancing, wearing a mask? They don't get to speak at lunchtime. They don't even get to sit together at lunchtime. They don't get field trips. They have excessive hand washing, which my child has actually gone through. No book fairs, no experiences in any other areas of the school. She hasn't even been to the library in kindergarten. No laughing with each other in a cafeteria. God gave us a face for a reason, and these children deserve to see their emotions, reactions, and smiles. Right now, COVID is only 22% nationwide, with most cases being mild or no symptoms. Masks affect breathing patterns and can induce hyperventilating and headaches. They can exhale carbon monoxide into the mask and then they inhale it right back in. Children have not fully developed their immune systems, and it's important to be exposed to the germs. We are supposed to mask the sick, not the healthy. 34 states have already dismissed all their mask mandates. So why have we already decided to mask them for next year? Who are we trying to protect here? If we don't change how we plan to do things in the school district, we will have a mass exodus of people and families leaving this area. It seems that the power is slowly being stripped away from us parents. And why are we not even allowed in the school buildings? It doesn't make any sense. We can't go in a certain radius. I'm just asking for the mask mandate to be optional for students. Let us parents decide if it's in the best interest for our children. My kindergartner cannot come up here and say these issues. It's my job to stand up for her, but it's your job to show the action. We voted for you in this position to just do the right thing and support these children. Let's think long-term here. Does the risk of COVID, which has a small amount of affecting these children, outweigh emotional well-being? Are they feeling isolated, scared, and confused? As adults, we're supposed to ease the fear of these children. 1 year is already going by, scarring some psychologically. We want better. They deserve better. Please, let's work together and make this happen.
Hello, everyone. I wasn't going to speak. I was extremely nervous, and then I remembered why I'm here, and it's for my 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old that's finishing 3rd grade. I have a 1st grader, a daughter, and then I have a 3-year-old that's not quite in the system yet, and I am scared for their future. I see them come off of the field, and those masks, their eyes are dark, they're empty. We have to get rid of those masks. They're not getting sick. We have to protect our kids. And then I talk to duties on the field, and they'll say, they don't like me out there. I'm the mask meanie. And I just, it's like, it's scary out there. And they have little areas where they can go and breathe if they need to. And Mom, I can't take off my mask. I'll get in trouble. This is not the country of freedom here. What are we doing? We have to fight. And all due respect, you said in the beginning, you guys have no say on masks. And you have no say on critical race theory, then what are we doing? That's why we parents are here. I am done being silent. I've stood. I wasn't going to do this. And then I was going to be the one that pulled my students, my kids, and I was going to homeschool. But that wasn't good enough because I don't change their kids' lives. I can walk away, but that's not changing. It's not making a movement, and this is not the country I was born and raised in. I'm a public school child, and it was the best years of my life. And at some point, we have to do something for our kids. We have to do something. And I can't stand here anymore, and I will be with these parents and fight, and I hope that we can all work together to make something happen for our kids. It's our kids. They are our future, and the more we mask them, the more we make them we just inundate them with all the things that are not true of this country and being free and having choices. We can't do it anymore, and I'm just hoping and praying that this can change and we can all work together for our children. Thank you.
Hello again. I am really happy to see so many people today hear about masks and so many people willing to come up and fight for their children. It really warms my heart. Thank you for everybody who came tonight. But tonight I wanted to talk about critical race theory. And I don't have something prepared. I usually always do, but it's so hard to write about, so hard to talk about. And what it comes down to for me is that it is not okay for my child to be told he is racist. That's right. It's not okay for racism to be okay for one particular skin group and not another. Like, I'm not automatically racist because I'm white. My children should not be taught that ever. You know, my children, guess what? My children are privileged. Do you want to know why? It has nothing to do with the color of their skin. They're privileged because they have two parents that are still married and in the same house. They're privileged because they have a father who was on his own at 15 and discovered how to work hard and get a job and support his family. He has a mom that works hard every day as well and is willing to come here and fight for them. Okay, that's not why they're not privileged because of the color of their skin. Okay, I can't, and you say that we're not talking about critical race theory and that's not happening in the schools, but I'm here to call BS. Okay, I see in your presentations, I hear your language. The language is very clear. You talk about equity. Well, you know what equity is? Equity is knocking people down a little bit so that everybody's in a nice equity position. What we need to be focusing is on equality so that everybody is equal regardless of the color of their skin. So I am just asking you to please stop this. And you know what? Thank you, Michael Keaton, for reviewing that curriculum, by the way, and making sure that it was solid. I don't know what the end result of that was, but I know that there are people here that are good people that are fighting and that are doing the right thing. But please, we need to be careful of our language. I don't want to hear any more equity crap. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to see this in our presentations. It's on for the school district thing. I mean, it's done. It needs to stop. And I don't know what needs to take place, but it needs to be done. So anyways, thank you.
And there's a lot of emotion in here. I hope my 3 minutes doesn't start. I guess it did. Okay, well, I am here on behalf of the Puyallup High School cheer team. There's a lot of big conversations here, and I don't mean to make light of it with a small situation, but this kind of falls in line with what other people are saying. I have 4 pages of stuff that I wanted to say, but kind of got caught up in the moment. So the situation is this. There's 20 cheerleaders that provide for the community. They do everything for everybody and they get nothing in return. That's not to say they're more important than anybody, but they're a group of girls that just keep going and going and going. Something that cheerleaders do is they go to summer camp, and that's kind of their Super Bowl. So they missed it last year. They cheered this year's games with no student body, people staring at them, very awkward. They continue to come and do the right thing. The coach submitted last week or a week or two ago to go to summer camp in Bellevue, a 4-day camp. where there's a waiver of liability. Everything's written in it. She did everything right. It was signed off at Puyallup High School. It was signed off by someone else, and then it was kicked back by the athletic director, executive athletic director, Mr. Meyerhoff. And the answer I was told is it was the school board decision that there's no overnight camps. And the answer for that was COVID. So I have a whole bunch of statistics here and a whole bunch of things to say, and I'm kind of running out of time and getting anxious, but here's the deal. These girls can go to Bellevue and spend the night and do a 4-day camp, and it's nothing different than they're doing right now. So I'm not certain who, and I'm not upset about this, I'm just trying to be reasonable about this. I don't know what the board vote was, that there could be no overnight sleeping during July 23rd to the 26th, when the mandate is over. I mean, I'm just being honest, like if this was voted on 2 months ago, maybe, but if we just stop and look at data right now, 30% decreases nationwide, state, local, here, deaths, everything across the board is going in the right direction, everything. It just is unreasonable. The common sense of these girls, 20 girls that go hang out. We leave here, they're gonna go hang out. It's the biggest lie, it's the biggest elephant in the room. Every single child is doing what they do outside. They may put their masks on and cheer for 2 hours, and then they go outside. So it was approved for them to be a commuter school. They could go for 8 hours. They could be without masks because that's on the form. Every parent signs a waiver of liability to say it's okay for this to happen, but they can't spend the night, which is a huge issue. It's a community, it's a bonding, it's how they grow as a team. It's 4 days. If the girls are gonna get COVID, they're gonna be cheering for 8 hours together without masks on for 4 days straight. If one of them has COVID, they're gonna get it. They're not 20 are gonna stay in a 10 by 10 room. There's girls 2 in a room. It's just nonsensical. I just call for sense. And I don't even know if you guys voted on it. I'm not trying to be difficult. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But I am sensical, and this doesn't make sense. I'm going to ask everybody here that's for the cheer team to stand up, just so people can see. And there's people online. So, and I'm sorry. There's a tide that we can turn in Washington State. There's a tide we can turn in Puyallup. I believe in every single one of you. I really do. I know you guys are here for the right thing. I know we're all here for the right thing. This is just sensical. Like, there's bigger issues to fry, and at some point, we have to turn the tide. We have to say yes with reservation. Yes, but if cases change, we're going to pull it back from you guys. Yes, because 6 weeks from now, that 30% precipitous drop that I just talked to you about in cases, deaths, hospitalizations, what if 6 weeks from now, it's literally at 5%? We're going to look at this and it's going to be silly. And the big elephant in the room is this. Just like I said, driving here from downtown Puyallup, no masks on street corners, on baseball fields, soccer fields, lacrosse fields, all across. That's the big elephant in the room. So if they don't, there's going to be 6 parents that get hotel rooms, and 4 girls are going to stay in each hotel room, just like everybody's doing right now. So I just implore you, for these girls' sake, and just for you guys to get a win. Let's get a win. Like everybody, like I feel so much negativity in this room.
Mr. Suarez,
I'm sorry.
we understand your point.
There's way too much negativity, and let's just get a win and turn the tide. And this is an easy one. It's July 23rd to the 26th.
Mr. Suarez, we'll
yes,
review that. Thank you.
I wanted to thank you all for serving our community. I know that it's no small task, especially in the current climate. I'm very nervous. I don't like this. So I'm just going to read my statement because it's easier for me. I have a dozen topics I could talk to you about today, but I'm going to focus on changes being implemented in the district's history and social studies curriculum. There's an agenda to introduce new social studies curriculum into the schools, but unfortunately, the vast majority of people don't realize how controversial much of this curriculum is. These new curriculums are attempting to indoctrinate our children into believing that all people are not equal, that the government's job is to create equal outcomes for its citizens, and that we should judge people based on their color, not on their integrity and actions. Much of this curriculum literally teaches children to hate America, what it stands for, and undermines our democracy. As parents, we demand that you create transparency in the new history and social studies curriculum that you're evaluating, and that the community input is welcomed into the process of selecting curriculum. You mentioned that the state hasn't mandated CRT. However, critical race theory principles are woven into these new curriculums, and we, the parents of the students that you serve, are not okay with you using our children as guinea pigs for this indoctrination. I understand that you will be field testing new curriculum in the fall as a pilot program, but it's imperative that you involve the parents in this process before you begin testing these programs on our children. Who are these teachers that will be evaluating these programs, and who are these children that are being subjected to this program? Do they even have a choice? When can parents look at these materials? As George Orwell so aptly stated in 1984, he who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak here this evening, and I'll get right to the point. Critical race theory purpose is to demoralize and divide humanity. That's the only purpose for that. It will hurt interracial families such as myself, putting a wedge between the different races in the family, having the child think that they would not be valued from their parent who are different race from the other parent. That's the only purpose it has. No child should be put in that mental status. It does not offer a purpose for your life. It kills hope and the reason to live. In the 1960s, as a Black American woman from Boston, raised by my grandmother who came from the Caribbean with an 8th grade education, I was raised to believe I can accomplish anything no matter what challenges was faced to me. Surprisingly, my challenges were not from white teachers or white people within my community, but from Black American peers taunting me because of not making good grades and my physical appearance. So I just want to make a note on this. Not every Black American here in this country agrees in this thing. A Boston local newspaper where I'm from when I was attending college in the 70s reported how Black students were making A's and B's grades drop to C's and D's, and I wondered why. Surprised to read our peers bullying them, beating them up, and calling them Uncle Tom. So you gotta understand, in Boston, our schools are totally different than the West Coast. All right, we had what was called Boys Latin School, Girls Latin School, English High, which was a collegiate high school, trade school for all diverse education that any student of any race can attend. Sadly, what I've learned that Black communities we were supposed to stick together. That's what I was taught when I was raised up. Because the white people did not want to succeed was a farce to me. I kept wondering why my peers who taunt and bully us, who want our dreams to become. My aunt took me by surprise, and this took me by surprise when I was getting ready for college. And she asked me what I was planning to study in college, and I said a passion for animals, because one of the high schools that we have in Boston is an agricultural tech high school. And so I wanted to be a vet tech. And she says, well, why do you want a white man's job? I'm saying to myself, what in the world is a white man's job? I want to really stress that to you, the mindset of the people, of how they don't let go of the past and keep thinking that the past is still today, going into the future. Regretfully, teaching critical race theory in our schools will have the same effect of what I experienced growing up. It would put in the minds of our students today that they have nothing to contribute to society. And this is one of the reasons why our suicide rate is pretty high. They are not considered valued because of their race. White will think they are oppressors and blank always the victim. All these years of motivating our students that they have potential to become anything they want to be, encouraging them through the transitional periods of their lives, moving from grade to grade, then emotionally realizing college is ahead of them, or work, or military service. We would shoot that down teaching critical race theory. So my solution, let us get back to teaching the principal tools that would help our children qualify for our college or obtain employment or start their own business. Let us get back to helping them navigate what career goals that they are trying to achieve. Start introducing students to various cultures who had positive impact in building our country. For example, Ben Carson, who was a cardiologist, the first to separate Siamese twins. Jessie Norman, Black opera singer, the woman who was chosen to work for NASA. They were Latinos, African Americans, Native Americans who contributed, and many more. Add books in the culture in school libraries of those who've accomplished positive impact and how they succeed in various professions. One book in mind was called Pulse Perseverance. It's an inspirational story of what can be accomplished with dedication, the support of a people with similar goals, and the investment from institutions dedicated to Black success. The book is the North Star for every Black child who sees something greater for himself than the world would have believed. We do not have a problem with white supremacy, nor do we teach critical race theory. What is lacking, or should I say what's been being stripped away, is teaching the basic principles of humanity, respect for each other, forgiveness, understanding, and the love for each other.
Am I supposed to say what this says? Good evening, President Yang and members of the board.
You don't have to say
Oh.
that. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I did not plan anything. I did not plan to speak tonight. I've been a mother in this district for 20 years, since 2001. 2 of my girls have graduated. 1 is graduating this year, and I have 2 more to come. This year, I decided to homeschool my two youngest, as I thought it would be in between my work schedule. I thought it would be best to try and do that versus the online learning and things like that. So I thought it'd be healthiest for them. So I'm trying, I'm learning. I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. So in April, I decided, well, maybe I would send them back, the 2 youngest. My senior has been in all year. I didn't want to screw up her credits. Sorry, I'm really nervous. But the elementary school, Zeiger, that she had chosen, that all my girls have gone to, had just sent out an email to the entire staff, not the staff, the parents. And I'm going to read you the email. Many of you have noticed and began discussion about the progressive pride flag that has been flown on our flagpole in front of the school. I chose to put it up as sign to all that all are welcome here at Zeiger. Yes, it is a pride flag and represents the LGBTQIA+ community. Even more so, it represents that all cultures, ethnicities, races, genders, gender-neutral individuals will be welcome here at Zeiger. We will not judge anyone based on how they identify. I understand there are some regulations for the flagpole and will remove it from the flagpole. We will continue to have it visible for all to clearly know that we are welcome here. I am open to a 2-way communication and would enjoy conversation to discuss how we can ensure all feel welcome here at Zeiger. I hope you have a wonderful spring break. And then the principal signed his name. After that, I decided it was probably not best for my girls to go back there. I love Zeiger. I love this district. I've loved it for years. I've noticed a noticeable change in the last 4, beginning with when my daughter was my 3rd daughter was a 9th grader here, and there was a new principal here as well. Changes started to happen and my girls are half white, so that were stemmed around race and around things like this. And although we should treat everybody with love and respect, I don't think any child who identifies as something other than, what they're born as should be treated any differently, just like any other child. We should all treat them with love and kindness. But it's the American flag covers us all, not the rainbow flag. So I know that there has been discussions between many parents here about this email that have been going back and forth with superintendent or assistant superintendent, the board, and this hasn't been resolved. It's still hanging, and it just makes many feel alienated and many not feel welcome, and that there is maybe an agenda being pushed here. So again, we love everybody, and that's all we should teach as we go to school. We should be teaching them all. Diversity of thought should be celebrated. Diversity of heritage should be celebrated. We should love everyone, and that's easy to do. I don't know why we're dividing everybody in, race and, I don't care what adults do in their time as they're adults. I do think I have a problem with children being told that they can choose their gender at elementary school. That should never be taught. That should never be, that's abuse as far as I'm concerned. I think that's emotional abuse. And these children are really suffering, and to send them to school and sneak this in at a time where they're distraught and emotionally, I mean, my 8-year-old has struggled. I'm not sending her back because the masks, the telling the kids they can't play, they can't touch, separating them, I think would make it worse for her. And I'm trying to make things as normal as I can, and then I feel like they're vulnerable right now. And you're sending them and you're teaching them now. They send a kindergarten, a first grader to school, and then you can teach them that they can choose their gender. That's something that those are beliefs, and those are something that each family should get to decide what they believe. So I just want to let parents know, though, if they don't listen to us, then you're going to have to probably pull your kids from the school and homeschool them. Maybe the only time you will listen is if the tax dollars are gone. I don't know. I hope you will listen to us. I love it here, but please listen to your constituents, and please don't use my children as guinea pigs. And thank you very much.
All right. My name is Marcy Davis. I'm a mother of 4 children who happen to go to the Puyallup School District. Today, I am speaking not only as a voice for my 4 children, but for the kids, parents, and teachers who are unable to or are too scared to. I also speak for the children who are no longer with us. I myself personally know 2 who have passed on, not from COVID, but from suicide. That is the real pandemic that we have going on with our children right now. Depression, anxiety, and alienation that has only been furthered by your illogical school closures and your mask mandates. How many more have to die before you take our children's mental health and their lives seriously? We know now, thanks to Dr. Fauci's email that was so graciously shared with us last week, that Dr. Fauci himself has said that masks do not work against the COVID virus. That the virus is so small that it would pass through, ironically, every single mask that each of you are wearing here today. The science on the size of the COVID virus will not change. It has not changed. And we were all fooled. And the fact that every single one of you is still wearing a mask is disgusting. That is all the information we need right here. That is all the information that we have ever needed, was that Dr. Fauci lied to all of us. Now, you said that you do not have the power to remove the mask mandates for our district. That is false. You do. A school board has the ultimate say on the decision for your school district. Now, I leave you with a quote. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me out. I'm here to represent not the cheerleaders, but my wife, who I'm tired of seeing cry all the time because her children can't do the things that they're supposed to do in school. I feel like a school board is an extension, if I remember my civics lessons well, of a representation of me. And I don't feel like if my son came home and told me, Dad, I say, son, you need to do something. And he says, well, it's out of my hands, Dad. I can't do anything about it. I don't know if I'd really stop him and say, well, that's good enough, son. I mean, I don't understand what is preventing each one of you from writing a letter to the governor, to writing a joint letter as the school board to the state. What prevents you from doing that? I mean, are you going to have repercussions in your jobs, because the last time I checked, I was the one that voted for you. Okay? This is a situation in which you have a disease that severely unaffects children. Okay? You have a vaccine that has been highly touted and that all teachers have access to. With all of these things, why cannot we come together and say, in a state where I have been led to believe is a state of choice, there is a lot of choice in this state, is there not? We choose our bodies, we choose who we marry, we choose everything, yet we cannot choose if we want to wear a mask or not. We're not telling you to take away, to make masks outlawed. We're telling you we'd like the choice. The choice is all we want. And it's kind of a real, it's really disheartening to sit up here and hear our school board go, oh, there's nothing I can do. It's out of our hands. Oh, I mean, come on, guys. It's time to act. It's time. I bet you if you did this right now and wrote a letter, you could give it to Como, you could give it to King, you could give it to Kong, you give it to Cairo. All of them would say the Puyallup School District board has come out stating that they do not want masks anymore in school. Why don't you do that? If you want them to choose, why don't you have that as a choice? You have the power. It's time to be brave. It is time to be brave, unless your position is that you want masks next year, which I intend to email each one of you and ask you. So be please prepared to answer me. And if you don't answer me, then there's no reason for you to be on the board anymore. You're not talking to me. So please, be brave. Time to do something. It's time to be a little bit stronger than you have been before. And then in doing that, we all become strong and Puyallup becomes this wonderful landmark of a district. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Chumley. I am an alumni of Emerald Ridge High School, class of 2003. I have 3 children who I decided to homeschool this year. I am a homeschool mom, first time, not my choice. The number one reason I chose to keep them home was the mask. Stop. It's criminal what you're doing to children. Yes. And you say that you don't have a say in this, but you do. I just implore you to do what you can and whatever in your power to ask the health department, the OSPI, to allow mass choice and do it now. Our kids cannot wait another day. I have friends who live in the Moses Lake School District and they have not had masks for their teachers or their children since September. They are in Washington State. Their health department doesn't enforce anything there. Praise God. We should all move to Moses Lake. You guys have power. We vote for you. You work for us. Make a change or we will. And we'll vote accordingly.